That is a way of demonstrating the basic experience which underlies some of the major forms of Oriental philosophy. And actually this way of demonstrating it is taken from a kind of Chinese and Japanese Buddhism called Zen, which I'm going to be talking about quite a bit today, because Zen is one of the best examples of a philosophy, shall we call it, in which this experience is dominant. Zen, of course, is a Japanese word, and it's spelled Z-E-N. And that is the Japanese way of pronouncing the Chinese word, Chan. And this, in turn, is the Chinese way of pronouncing an Indian Sanskrit word, dhyana. And dhyana refers to the kind of experience which has been represented in...
Oh my, what just happened? What just happened?
Experience is dominant of pronouncing an Indian Sanskrit word, dhyana. And dhyana refers to the kind of experience which has been represented in this circle. Another word for it would be a second Sanskrit term, shunya. And the nearest we can translate shunya in English is emptiness or void. And so we might say this is an experience of the void. Before trying to explain what this is, and you know the funny thing is it really can't be explained because it has to be felt, because it's a transformation of one's basic feeling, one's basic consciousness of life. But I should mention first that it is characteristic of Eastern philosophy to be based on experience rather than ideas. You see, philosophy in the Western world, especially as it's taught in our universities and academies, is mainly a matter of thinking. It's a matter of trying to arrive at certain clear, positive ideas about the nature of man, the nature of the universe, and so on and so forth. And also religion in the West is somewhat similar because religion is largely concerned with belief in certain ideas. In these basic forms of Eastern philosophy, on the other hand, such as Zen, which is a kind of Buddhism, or Taoism, the basic native philosophy of China, or in Vedanta, which is the central form of Indian philosophy, what is basic to them is not ideas, but a way of experiencing, a way of feeling. And this might be called, as it is here, the void, demonstrated by this circle. Because it is not a void which is just emptiness. This isn't the idea that there are people in the backward worlds of Asia who think that the universe is ultimately nothing at all. It is rather that the void represents complete spiritual freedom. Or you might say, if you don't like the word spiritual, complete psychological freedom. And therefore, I want to try, if I can, to communicate to you, to give you some idea of what this experience is. In Japanese, in Zen, it is called Satori. I'll write that down, it's an unfamiliar word. S-A-T-O-R-I. And I like the way that that's pronounced in southern Chinese. They pronounce it because it's something that happens to you.
I know how terrible it is.
Now let me try, if I can possibly, to put into some sort of words what this experience is. This experience, which so far as they are concerned, is the objective of human life. To get this is to understand the meaning of human nature and destiny. Only because it's a transformation of consciousness, because it's something you feel rather than something you think, it is for this reason difficult to put into words. But it is as if you saw quite suddenly, and indeed this experience could have happened to you. It can come without warning to anybody, and so what I'm going to be saying may strike a familiar ring in some ears. But it is as if quite suddenly you became totally convinced that the way everything is in this universe and at this moment is absolutely right. And that's almost putting it too weakly. I'm not trying to talk about a sort of Pollyanna feeling where we say, well, this is the best of all possible worlds, and everything, however evil and however wrong, is going to work out all right in the end because it's a means to an end in some master design. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it is suddenly feeling that everything is right the way it is now, however appalling, however terrible. And you know it beyond a shadow of doubt. There are two other aspects to this experience as well. And although you feel them all together, we have to talk about them separately. While the first aspect is feeling that everything just as it is so right that you could say of it, this is why I'm alive. This is what life's all about. The second is that everything you see and feel seems to come to life in an extraordinary way. You feel the world as you've seen it before was seen almost in a dream. But it is as if just the ordinary things that were confronting you suddenly went, yeah, and came alive. And the third aspect of it is that you no longer feel yourself and what you are experiencing to be separated. Although you don't lose the feeling of the outline of your skin, you don't forget that I, or Joe Dokes, is a possible name by which you can refer to yourself. Nevertheless, it suddenly seems to you that your skin is no longer what divides you from the world, it's what joins you to it. What you see outside you is also you. Now, we ordinarily restrict the idea of ego, of I-ness, or of you-ness to some sort of psychological entity or process inside us which is in control of things. And we identify ourselves with a sort of controlling center. But in this experience, it is as if that center were suddenly enlarged to include the whole universe. You almost feel as if you were God, except that in Eastern thought, one doesn't think of God as a kind of omnipotent person. I mean, there are lots of people in our asylums who say, well, I'm God. I always like the story of the woman who insisted that she was God. And to humor her, someone said, well, if you're God, will you please explain how you managed to create the universe in 6 days? She said, I never talk shop. It isn't feeling God in that sense, as if you could do anything. But it is feeling that you and this whole world are one. And that in this experience of oneness and the sudden coming alive of everything, and the profound rightness, that's the only word I can use, the profound rightness of each moment, of this moment, however far it may seem to be short of one's ideals of perfection. This is it. And you say, having seen this, I can die content. This is what it was all about.
Underneath it all, there's this vast realm of conscious presence. There is a presence there, without which you wouldn't be able to perceive anything, you wouldn't be able to think anything. It's a little bit like, I compare it sometimes to before you live on the surface of the ocean, you're a little ripple on the surface of the ocean. And this ripple only knows itself as a ripple. And it looks at other ripples and sometimes feels threatened by other ripples or wants to use other ripples to enhance its own sense of self.
Really?
And it's always fearful.
Why?
It always compares itself to other ripples. Very unpleasant and frustrating way to live. It hasn't realized the depth of its being, because the ripple is only a temporary expression of the vastness of the ocean. But it doesn't know that. So if the ripple for a moment comes to us, if the continuous thought, in this analogy, the ripple, of course, is the human being, and the ripple, when the ripple stops thinking for a moment, and this is the key, for a moment, you come to a cessation of the stream of thinking. And what's left when you're not thinking about your history, your personal history, or the future? You're just becoming aware of this moment, yourself, this moment. But what is that self? It's no longer the historical self. You can't say very much about it. There is an underlying sense of presence, of alive, conscious presence. It's still, but it's alive. The awakening can begin with realizing that you are not the thoughts that go through your mind. That's the beginning. Now, what has arisen at that moment? Awareness. Suddenly, you realize that there is a dimension of consciousness in you that's not thinking, but just conscious. And that is your essence identity. To be rooted in that, it's ultimately very simple. I don't know why they don't teach that at school. I mean, the most important life lesson is the transcendent dimension.
Say hello in the chat if you're alive.
Who you are. To find all the ancient teachings using different terms and different words, they all point to this possibility of realizing the transcendent dimension of who you are. Whether the Buddha calls it, the Buddha actually calls it, the translation is shunyata, emptiness, but the better translation would be spaciousness. That's the essence of who you are, shunyata, spaciousness. Jesus talks about the kingdom of heaven, which in my translation is not, I translated kingdom, I translated as dimension, and heaven, which is the vast heaven. When you look up at the sky, that's the closest thing you can get to spaciousness in the sense-perceived world. The closest thing you can get to spaciousness is to look at the vastness of the sky or heaven. In many languages, heaven and sky is the same word. So you look at the vastness of sky, which is vast spaciousness. So the kingdom of heaven is the dimension of spaciousness. It's a dimension of consciousness. This is why then they asked Jesus, where is the kingdom of heaven? When is it going to come? And he said, the kingdom of heaven cannot come with science to be perceived. You can never say it's over here or it's over there, because the kingdom of heaven is within you. In fact, he was saying it is the essence of who you are. Consciousness is, but it's not only the essence of who you are, it's the essence of the universe itself, because you are just a microcosm of the universe. So when you realize the essence of who you are, the universe is realizing its own essence through you, this little thing, through you.
The ideas of Alan Watts and Eckhart Tolle are fundamental contributions to the wisdom on this channel. But the animations displayed here are merely the tip of the iceberg. If you want to dive deep into the philosophies, we recommend checking out their audiobooks on Audible. We are truly blessed to have access to life-enhancing perspectives at the click of a button, and Audible makes it just that easy. go to audible.com/afterschool or text afterschool to 500-500 to listen for free to the audiobooks of Eckhart Tolle, Alan Watts, or any audiobook of your choice from Audible's vast selection of audiobooks, podcasts, and more. Audible makes it easy to absorb the information while you are cooking, cleaning, exercising, or on the go. Right now, for a limited time,
Audible.
save 60% on your first 3 months of Audible. That's only $5.95 a month.
Only?
Give yourself the gift of listening. For more, go to audible.com/afterschool or text afterschool to 500-500.
Isn't that amazing? Don't waste your life thinking pathetic thoughts. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do that.
I think that the idea that it's all in the brain is an unnecessary limitation. Materialists thinking about the brain.
Jump
in
ahead
its
to
orbit,
what?
It's stretched. In its orbit, it's stretched.
Oops. 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 Oopsies.
I think that the idea that it's all in the brain is an unnecessary limitation. Materialists thinking about the brain is extraordinarily local. It localizes all these things actually inside the head. But within the sciences, since the 19th century, we now have a much broader view of matter and the way that nature is organized. And this is broadened through the concept of fields, first introduced into science by Michael Faraday in relation to electric and magnetic fields, then through Einstein's general theory of relativity, taken to include the gravitational field. And there are many fields in science now. Fields are defined as regions of influence. They're usually invisible. The gravitational field of the Earth is in the Earth, but extends far beyond it. The reason we're not floating in the air at the moment is because it's holding us down to the ground. It's invisible. This room is full of it, but we can't see it. It holds the moon in its orbit. It stretches far beyond the Earth. The gravitational field of the moon affects the tides on the Earth. So these are invisible fields with enormous effects at a distance, even though you can't see them. Electrical and magnetic fields also stretch out beyond physical objects. A magnetic field stretches out far beyond the magnet. You can reveal its lines of force through sprinkling iron filings around it, but the field itself is invisible. And the electromagnetic fields of your mobile telephone are within the mobile telephone, but stretch invisibly beyond it. This room is full of radio transmissions from mobile phones, from radio and television programs. The world is full of invisible fields. This is a revelation of 19th and 20th century science, which I don't think has been taken on board by people thinking about materialist theories of the brain. And what I'd like to suggest is that our fields of our minds stretch out far beyond our bodies. They stretch out invisibly, and our consciousness is related to and based on these fields. That if we're going to solve the hard problem, taking into account fields of the mind may be a very important ingredient, as well as studying processes within the brain. The easiest way to see what I'm talking about is indeed through vision. What's going on when you see something? Well, everybody knows that light comes into the eyes. Ever since Johann Kepler in 1604 worked out that there were inverted images on the retina, we know that the lens focuses the light in each eye. You have a small inverted image on your retina. Changes happen in the cone cells.
We all know that.
The rod cells. Impulses travel up the optic
Everybody
nerve.
knows.
Changes happen in various regions of the
Old
brain.
news.
All this has been mapped and scanned in greater detail than ever before. But the mysterious part is then what happens next. How do you create images, three-dimensional, full-color images? They're all supposed to be inside your head. representations of the outer world. So I can see you sitting there, you can see me here, but all of you are supposed to be inside my head, as lots of faces and the whole of this room is meant to be. And inside your head is supposed to be a little Rupert somewhere inside your brain. That's not what we actually experience.
Really?
What we actually experience is that our images are out there. Your image of me, I'm imagining, is where I'm actually standing right now, and my
Do I
image
like
of
it
you
like
is
that?
where you are.
Or is it better like...
So this one-way theory
Like
of vision,
this.
which we've all grown up with, and which comes from Kepler, the intromission theory of vision,
No.
sending in intromission, is taken to be the standard scientific view. But there's another and older theory of vision, the extramission theory, that says not only does light come in, but the images we see are projected out. So my images of you are where they seem to be. They're in my mind, they're in my consciousness, but they're not inside my head. They're where you're sitting. Now, this idea is familiar to the ancient Greeks. It's familiar to people all over the world. The developmental psychologist Jean Piaget showed that young European children, in his book The Child's Conception of the World, think that they're projecting out images, that they take it for granted. So this is, in fact, a very deep-seated way of thinking about vision. And Euclid, the great geometer, used it to explain in the first really clear way how mirrors work. What happens when you look at something in a mirror is the light is reflected from the mirror, the angle of incidence, the angle of reflection are the same. But what happens then is you project out the images, which go straight through the mirror, being virtual, mental projections, and you see virtual images behind the mirror. And Euclid's theory is still there in school textbooks to explain mirrors. All of you, no doubt, have seen these diagrams. They involve little dotted lines behind the mirror that go to what's called a virtual image behind the mirror, a projection of the mind behind the mirror. So this extramission, a sending out theory of vision, is actually taught to all school children, even though within most of science it's regarded as a total heresy. Intromission is the only permissible theory in biology and psychology, whereas in optics, which comes under physics, extramission is the standard theory. But no wonder it's confusing. People are taught two completely different theories of vision. At Ohio State University, Gerald Weiner, who's a professor of psychology, was shocked to find that most adults and children he interviewed believed in visual extramission, something going out of the eyes. Even his own psychology undergraduates believed it. So he called this a fundamental misunderstanding of visual perception, and he decided to re-educate them. And he and his colleagues told them forcefully over and over again, nothing goes out of the eyes when you look at something. And after repeated drilling with this into the students, when they were tested immediately after this denial of extramission teaching, they gave the correct answers. But when they tested them 3 to 5 months later, almost all of them had reverted to their previous views. They were dismayed at this failure of scientific education. Much more recently, in fact, just in the last few years, Arvid Gutterstam,
Moderator, take away that comment, please. Thank you.
University, now at the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm, has shown that by some very ingenious experiments that people attribute a gentle force to the gaze as it goes out of the eyes. And they've even shown, using fMRI, that regions of the brain involved in tracking movement are activated. And as he puts it, the results, this is a quote, strongly suggest that when people view a face looking at an object, the brain treats that gaze as if a movement were present, passing from the face to the object. And they found that this occurred even in people who didn't believe in visual extramission. It's deep, hardwired in the way we see. And they tried to explain this by saying there must be an evolutionary reason for it, that it's important to track people's gaze in social situations, and this leads to the illusion that something's going out of the eyes when you look at things. It would make much better sense in evolutionary terms if it's not an illusion, but if it's real.
What is this guy going on about?
So is it real? Well, you're not meant to think it's real because that goes against the dogma that the mind is nothing but the activity of the brain and the perceptions are inside the head. But is it testable? Well, I think it is. If, when I look at you as a projection from my mind that touches you, my mind in a sense reaches out to touch you, if I look at you from behind and you don't know I'm there, could you feel that I'm looking at you? Well, as soon as you ask that question, you realize that the sense of being stared at is very common. It's now called scopaesthesia, the scientific name for it. Scop as in microscope, seeing, aesthesia, feeling, as in synesthesia, anesthesia. Scopaesthesia is extremely common. Most people have experienced it. I'm sure most people in this room have experienced it.
I'm ugly.
You turn around, you find someone's looking at you, or you stare at someone and they turn around and look back. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's very common. Most people have experienced it, including most children. It's usually directional. You turn and look straight at the person. You don't just feel uneasy and search around. I have a recent paper on directional scopaesthesia showing that on the basis of 960 case studies, the directionality is just a basic feature of this and the way people experience it. I've investigated the natural history. We've interviewed, we've dealt with through questionnaires. We found it typically happens most powerfully with strangers, often with male strangers in situations that could be vaguely threatening. We've done interviews with more than 50 surveillance officers, celebrity photographers, and private detectives, practically all of whom just take this for granted. If you've ever trained to be a private detective, and I'm guessing that most of you haven't, you will have learned that when you're following someone, shadowing somebody, you don't stare at their back, because if you do, they'll turn around, catch your eyes, and your cover's blown. You have to look at them a little bit, otherwise you lose them, but you look at their feet. So among practical people, these things are completely taken for granted. In the martial arts, it's taken for granted, and they have methods of training people to become more sensitive. Because if you can feel when someone's approaching from behind who might attack you, you'll survive better than if you didn't feel it. They train this ability, people get better at it. Well, many experiments have already been done on the sense of being stared at. They've been done in at least 37 different schools and colleges. They've been replicated in many parts of the world. The statistical significance is astronomical. At the Nemo Science Museum in Amsterdam, an experiment on the sense of being stared at was running for more than 20 years. More than 20,000 people took part. It was called Have You Got Eyes in the Back of Your Head? And people had to guess whether they were being looked at or not in a randomized sequence of trials. The results were astronomically significant statistically. I mean, I didn't run this experiment.
This is a video about one of the most important, yet least understood, concepts in all of physics. It governs everything from molecular collisions to humongous storms, from the beginning of the universe, through its entire evolution, to its inevitable end. It may, in fact, determine the direction of time and even be the reason that life exists.
Just kidding, everyone knows.
To see the confusion around this topic,
Scientists know everything.
you need ask only one simple question. What does the Earth get from the sun?
What does the Earth get from sun?
Well, it's light rays.
What do we get from the sun?
Heat. Warmth.
Radiation.
Light. Vitamin D. We get vitamin D from it.
Do you get vitamin D from the ultraviolet rays?
Well,
No, we don't get vitamin D. Your body synthesizes it.
Earth get from this energy?
Yeah, it's energy. Energy.
Nailed it. Every day the Earth gets a certain amount of energy from the sun, and then how much energy does the Earth radiate back into space relative to that amount that it gets from the sun?
Probably not as much. I don't believe that it's just radiating right back.
I'd say less.
Less. I would say less.
I'd guess about 70%.
More.
As a fraction, I'd
More.
say 20%.
Because
we use some of it.
we use some of the energy.
we consume a lot, right?
But the thing about energy is it never really goes away. You can't really use it up.
It would have to break even, wouldn't it? Same amount, yeah.
You know, cause and effect, it'd be equal in some ways, right?
For most of the Earth's history, it should be exactly the same amount of energy in from the sun as Earth radiates into space.
Wow.
Because if we didn't do that, then the Earth would get a lot hotter. That'd be a problem.
That'd be a big problem.
So if that is the case,
Yeah.
then what are we really getting from the sun?
It's a good question.
It gives us a nice 10.
It gives us a nice 10. I love it. We're getting something special from the sun.
I don't know. What do we get without the energy?
But nobody talks about it.
To answer that, we have to go back to a discovery made 2 centuries ago. In the winter of 1813, France was being invaded by the armies of Austria, Prussia, and Russia. The son of one of Napoleon's
Who did he
generals was
outsource
Sadi
it to?
Carnot, a 17-year-old
Let me know, Chad.
student. On December 29th, he writes a letter to Napoleon to request to join in the fight. Napoleon, preoccupied in battle, never replies. But Carnot gets his wish a few months later when Paris is attacked. The students defend a chateau just east of the city. But they're no match for the advancing armies, and Paris falls after only a day of fighting. Forced to retreat, Carnot is devastated. 7 years later, he goes to visit his father, who's fled to Prussia after Napoleon's downfall. His father was not only a general, but also a physicist. He wrote an essay on how energy is most efficiently transferred in mechanical systems. When his son comes to visit, they talk at length about the big breakthrough of the time, steam engines. Steam engines were already being used to power ships, mine ore, and excavate ports. And it was clear that the future industrial and military might of nations depended on having the best.
This guy
steam
sold
engines.
out to some foreign entity. Is that
But
for
French
real?
designs were falling behind those of other countries, like Britain. So Sadi Carnot took it upon himself to figure out why. At the time, even the best steam engines only converted around 3% of thermal energy into useful mechanical work. If he could improve on that, he could give France a huge advantage and restore its place in the world. So he spends the next 3 years studying heat engines. And one of his key insights involves how an ideal heat engine would work, one with no friction and no losses to the environment. It looks something like this. Take 2 really big metal bars.
This
one
guy
hot
sold
and
his
one
channel.
cold.
He
The
sold it.
engine consists of a chamber filled with air, where heat can only flow in
I
or
can't.
out through the bottom.
I can't even. I can't. Okay. Let's see what this guy says.
Life is short, but most people spend it like they have infinite time. Here's the reality. The average person lives just 30,000 days. That's it. That's it. Think about this. If you're 30 years old, you've already used up 11,000 of those days. Gone. Never coming back. I should do it someday. But someday is a dangerous word. It tricks you into thinking you have all the time in the world. In the next 15 minutes, you'll learn powerful strategies to make your time count. Not just managing it, but truly living it. These aren't generic tips about time management. These are deep insights about how life actually works. Chapter 1. Time perception and psychology. Time plays tricks on your mind, and understanding these tricks is your first step to mastering it. Remember when you were a kid? Summer felt endless. A single day could feel like a week.
I don't remember.
But now,
I'm still a kid.
years fly by like months.
Still
This
3
is the
years
time
old.
unit paradox, and it's not just in your head. It's
I'm
how your brain
incapable
actually works.
of growing.
Here's the
Incapable.
science.
Sorry.
Your brain measures time by recording new experiences.
Wow.
As a kid, everything was new. Your brain was constantly recording, making time feel slower.
That's
But as
awesome.
an adult, your routines make days blur together.
Oh, really?
Same breakfast, same commute, same Netflix show.
Is this guy
Your
AI?
brain literally skips recording these moments. Just another normal day, stuck in his comfort zone. This is the trap of time blindness. But you can hack this system.
Why does it
Take
sound like
different routes
AI?
to learn a new skill every month. Have conversations with strangers. Each new experience forces your brain to pay attention, making time expand again. And here's the biggest time perception mistake. We constantly overestimate what we can do in a day, but massively underestimate what we can do in a year. This is why people quit goals too soon. Chapter 2, Priority Management. Most people confuse being busy with being productive. They fill their days with tasks that feel important, but don't actually matter. Here's a powerful tool, the deathbed test. Think about yourself at 90 years old looking back. Will you care about that extra hour at the office? Or that time you spent with your family? Suddenly, priorities become crystal clear. I'll finish this report first. Meanwhile, life's real priorities slip away, one day at a time. Here's what successful people understand. Knowing what not to do is more valuable than knowing what to do. It's the two-list strategy. Write down everything you want to achieve. Now, circle the top 3 items. Everything else? That's your avoid list. Think about compound interest, but for life choices. Small daily investments in the right
Is this guy
priorities
AI?
multiply over time. But there's a catch. Social media, busy work, and constant distractions steal your attention from what truly matters. The solution? Ruthlessly eliminate the non-essential. Your time is too precious for anything else. Chapter 3, Relationship Dynamics. Relationships work like bank accounts. Every
Bank
small
account.
interaction is either a deposit or a withdrawal.
Money.
A genuine compliment, deposit. Being late constantly, withdrawal. And just like real banks, you can't make withdrawals if you haven't made deposits. I don't understand why they're upset. I only reach out when I need something. And there's the problem. Most people focus on big gestures,
Man,
expensive gifts, grand...
I'm just listening to AI, man. It's like, is there any real people? Look, wow. Let's see what this guy has to
I
say.
think one of the most common problems that people have is not that they don't know what to do to dramatically move their life forward in a substantial way. Like, you know exactly what you need to do right now. There's probably something that you've been avoiding like the plague, but the problem is not that you don't know what that is. The problem is that you just can't bring yourself to do it. And that's the
Break the
common
habit of
theme
being
every
yourself.
single
What does
day
that
is
mean?
that when you sit down to do this
How to
thing,
make
you feel
doing
a
hard
feeling.
things
And it
easier
almost
than
seems
scrolling
unfair
YouTube.
how potent this feeling of resistance
wait.
is, because it's usually only
gotta
present
watch that
when
one
you
next.
think about doing things that are genuinely good for you. So it's like, what's the deal with that? Why does it seem like life is set up that way? Wouldn't it be better if you just actually enjoyed doing difficult things? Wouldn't it be better if you actually had the motivation to be creative or to write a paper or to do your taxes? Like, you probably want nothing more than to be someone who genuinely enjoys and looks forward to doing the things that are good for you, doing the things that empower you. Recently, I've been thinking, there is one strategy that I have that works every single time. It always makes me do the
Give me
thing
more
that
advice.
I need to
Tell
do.
me what it
It's
is.
not very flattering. It's not very sexy. We don't want to believe that this is the answer. And I feel like there's so much self-improvement advice out there that kind of ignores this fundamental, not even tactic.
Tell me
it's
what the
almost a
secret
fact
knowledge is.
of life. And when we ignore this fact, we'll try to do little tips and tricks like, oh, set a timer for 5 minutes and just really try really hard to do the work, or try to think more positive thoughts about your work. But all those strategies, like, they're kind of throwaway strategies. Yeah, they might work here or there, but they get old really quick. This strategy is nuclear. So if you need to do one particular thing, then if you do this, you will do it. Like, you will have no choice.
This guy is depressing me.
Is boredom. Ironically, that's also the problem. The solution and the problem are
hard things.
All right, let's see what this guy has to
Whether
say.
it's deep work, working in general, working out, studying, or focusing on reading, resisting a bad habit, or otherwise just stepping outside of your comfort zone, we can all agree doing them brings a net benefit to your life. But they're hard.
How to beat
Hence, we don't
dopamine.
want to do them. So
Look
here
what
are
happens when I just do the YouTube trip. It's going therapy route. Therapy.
In your nose, which begs the question, really.
What is he doing? Is he wearing a...
How hard is picking your nose? One more stroke.
Is he wearing a...
And you're out.
A bathrobe? What
But if
is
you've
it?
only got 30 seconds, here's the bottom line of this video.
30 seconds?
To make doing hard things easy, you simply need to rebalance your dopamine stores, so the cheapest form of dopamine you get is doing the hard thing itself. And then you need to cast enough votes with
Hack
your
the
actions
Matrix.
in favour of you forming the identity of being the type of person who does hard
Wait,
things.
this video, how to make hard
If you'd like
things
a bit
easier
more of
than
an
scrolling
explanation,
YouTube from 5 months ago, is all over
Point
YouTube?
number one, or principle number one. Okay,
I never
the first
discovered this
principle
video
is a depleted brain
until
will
now.
always default to ease. Quick note here: if you watch
That's
the other
crazy.
video about dopamine, or you know anything
Okay,
else about dopamine,
should we not watch it?
some of
Did you
this
see
stuff
it? Is
will
it
sound
bad?
familiar. But I still recommend you listen to this section instead of skipping on, because this is the most important principle of this whole video. And if you just understand this stuff, you will be fine.
Tell me, chat, did you learn anything today?
It's easier. So just treat it as a refresh of your memory. Anyway, let's begin. The molecule dopamine
you watched it because you paid for ads?
produces, otherwise known as a neurotransmitter, that is responsible for your feelings of craving, motivation, and reward. Basically, dopamine is responsible for you feeling motivated to do the hard thing and then find it
He didn't watch it, dang it. Should we give it a thumbs down?
while you're doing it. And
hey,
after
all
you've done
publicity is good publicity, right?
Here's the tricky thing.
Thumbs down. Okay, I'm just kidding.
Your brain can only produce
Flags not interested. Thumbs down.
So in order to protect its dopamine
thumbs
levels,
down.
Your brain is always trying to maintain a homeostatic balance of its dopamine levels. You can imagine your dopamine levels existing like a scale. You have 5 being the ideal state your brain would like to stay at, 0 being depletion, and 10 being an influx of dopamine. So each activity that you do throughout the day has its dopamine cost. Meaning, if you're engaging in activities that are, first of all, very dopaminergically rewarding, pleasurable activities such as scrolling, drugs, sex, porn, eating junk food, all of the bad habits, that is going to result in your dopamine levels crashing below baseline as soon as you stop that activity.
Okay.
And
let's
Today we're going to talk about how to boost your resistance to dopamine. The basic struggle that most of us have today is that we should be doing some things, like studying or working on our resume or exercising, but our brain wants to do something else. It wants to do
this guy is full of self-love, dude. Self-love. Wait. All right, this guy's on something,
or any
though.
other living organism.
This guy's smart. Alan Watts is a genius.
Because
Wait.
it's so.
Let's check it out. This guy's smart.
I believe that if we are honest with ourselves, that the most fascinating problem in the world is who am I? What do you mean? What do you feel when you say the word I?
I feel terrible.
Myself.
Ah!
I don't think
hate myself.
there can be any more fascinating preoccupation than that.
I should just hate myself.
Because it's so mysterious.
Self-loathing.
It's so elusive.
I'm a self-loathing hater.
Because what you are in your inmost being escapes your examination in rather the same way that you can't look directly into your own eyes without using a mirror. You can't bite your own teeth. And you can't touch the tip of this finger with the tip of this finger.
No, you can't. That's awesome.
That's why there's always an element of profound mystery in the problem of who we are.
There's nothing really important to watch. Everything is kind of just a waste of time.
Me for many years.
I'm kind of fed up with myself for even existing at this point. I am
There's a certain
raging.
consensus about this, a certain agreement.
I am literally going to lose my mind on this platform. This channel, this YouTube, I don't even watch YouTube shorts. Okay, like who? Like seriously? Like the Y files. I gotta know. Like, literally, everything's a waste of time.
Nikola Tesla believed that he could harness the energy from inside the Earth and transmit that power wirelessly around the world. His early experiments were successful, but his research mysteriously vanished after his death. There is no evidence left of Tesla's wireless power technology. Or is there?
Boring.
For years, we were taught that the Great Pyramid of Giza was a tomb for a king.
You suck, man.
It had a different purpose. Tesla didn't invent wireless power. It's been here for 5,000 years.
Literally, everything is a waste of time. I have no joy. Everything sucks. This is a waste of time.
Okay, why were the pyramids built?
Storage for dead mummies?
dead mummies?
I literally would have more fun jumping off a bridge.
Mainstream Egyptology says that the Great Pyramid of Giza is a tomb built for Khufu.
Maybe it's not about fun. It's about learning. Make my own content. I have no desire to make content, dude. I really don't.
The Great Pyramid contains no
why do you think I'm reacting to this?
And no elaborate wall art. It's been
I have
argued that the granite sarcophagus
make my own
found in the
content
king's
for
chamber
what?
once
I have
contained
no
Khufu's
desire
mummy.
to do that.
There's no evidence that a mummy was ever there.
I literally
no mummy has ever been
hate
found in any
everything,
pyramid,
and this
ever.
is a waste of time.
Ancient Egyptians considered their pharaohs gods. The Great
I
Pyramid
literally
is a strange structure
loathe
for God. Small
everything,
chambers,
and I
narrow
hate
shafts,
the internet,
no
and I
markings at
wish
all.
it would
The
just
way the
burn
pyramid
down.
was built and the materials used to build it suggest it had a different purpose. The sides of the pyramid are
This guy
aligned
is
with the compass
boring.
with such accuracy that only modern engineering
Dude, how do
can
I
match
find
it.
the most? What do I find? What's trending? How do I do that? I want to find where is the trending stuff, and I just want to roast on it because I have no life. I have nothing. There's nothing in life. It's depressing. Go make life fun. Like I have no fun. Fun is not real. I don't have fun. I don't do that. Okay, where is? Okay, let's just make fun of someone on a podcast. Who is it? I don't know. New podcasts. What is this? Why is this my watch history? No, I just want to see. Like, where's one? The mathematics of creativity. Why genius follows a formula. All right, let's check it out. Dude, I literally
that creativity,
I would have
something
more
we usually think of as
fun,
wild, mysterious,
just
and unexplainable, actually follows mathematical
yelling
patterns.
at random homeless
From the
people
way
to
artists
get out of my
generate ideas
neighborhood
to how
than
scientists
to
make breakthroughs,
make
hidden
content for
equations,
no
and statistical
reason. I have
rules
literally
shape our
no
creative
desire to
lives.
make content.
Today, we're going to break
I'm
down
just
the
here
mathematics of
because I'm
creativity,
crashing
and
out.
by the
This
end,
is a
you'll
crash
see
out.
Imagination in a whole new way.
This is literally me mentally breaking down. Live for you to show you that this world means nothing. Everything is meaningless.
As lightning sudden, chaotic,
The only thing that means anything is your own life. Go make meaning. YouTube sucks.
A leading psychologist of creativity.
I'm just kidding. I love YouTube. I learned so many things.
Thousands of works
I'm
by
just a crazy
composers,
person,
scientists,
and I'm
inventors,
losing my mind.
And found something surprising. Creative success follows.
This is my therapy, guys. Public scream match. Public humiliation. Come in and join me
in other words,
in my public humiliation scream match.
Large numbers. Think of Thomas Edison.
What am I even watching? Why are we doing this? Look, Asmongold, let's see what he says.
Now
oh my
a
God.
message to my English-speaking friends, because I'm already seeing people are organizing protests, hands off Venezuela, let's defend Maduro, we love dictators. Do not for a moment let your hatred and disdain for Donald Trump, an unsavory character, have
he's
you
an asshole.
defending the dictator of my country that was destroyed. We Venezuelans
So much
are
politics,
very,
man.
very
So much
happy.
hate.
It's the first time we're seeing justice in 26 years.
All I need is the popularity of Asmon, and I can just talk about all of my problems to the internet.
And stop spreading this bullshit narrative that, oh my God, they must be so scared. No, we're not scared. We've been waiting for this shit for 25 years.
They have no problem sacrificing Venezuelans for their own value system. Destiny thinks he knows more than the Venezuelan people on Maduro's capture.
Really?
Regardless of what you guys
What
think
do you
about
know,
the
Asmon?
invasion or the kidnapping or whatever.
You're just
which
an
you
idiot.
think it's horrible.
I'm just
Don't
kidding.
argue
You're
with
smart.
fucking Venezuelans
You're smarter
about
than
this,
the
because
two
Venezuelans
brain
fucking
cells
hate
that
Maduro.
all the other
They're happy to
streamers
see him
have,
go,
and
and
that's
none of
not
them
meaning
are gonna
very
be
much.
criticizing
You're
Trump
you're a
directly.
little bit smarter than all the other dummies, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything.
I mean, just because Venezuelans are out there celebrating doesn't mean it was good.
What would be a solution? Employ the last whatever amount of years.
27.
You all need to shut up.
There's no solution. They're just trying to complain.
Let
That's
them
it.
be. Oh God.
Shut up! Delete your channel.
It's just so stupid.
And a lot of those Venezuelans, some of them are going to be in the chat today, are going to fucking talk like this is a fantastic moment and Trump is the great liberator. Bitch, he's saying you're a rapist. I need you to understand this if you are a fucking Venezuelan expat. If
Why is there still Hassan in this world? I'm just kidding. I don't really care. Shock the dog. Shock the dog.
You're a rapist, drug dealer that will get sent to fucking see God. It doesn't
Shock your dog, Hassan. Shock your dog. Shut up.
matter whether you like Maduro or whether you hate the Chavistas or whatever the fuck. Okay, you're like a cum rag. That's it.
What is this?
Oh man, that's really something special. I'll tell you that. Oh, here we go again.
Is this
Venezuela,
serious?
We are sorry. We don't want this either. Sincerely, all sane Americans. Dear brainwashed Americans,
Venezuela.
We Venezuelans wanted this badly. Thank
Uninstalling
you to the United States
Windows.
and thank you to the Trump
Evil
administration.
robot anthem.
Go apologize
Ooh.
to your psychiatrist for skipping treatment.
Wait.
Sincerely, all sane
Okay,
Venezuelans.
shut up. Just shut up. Okay, like, oh, what even is there? What even is there? Okay, look at this. We can watch a 2-hour live stream. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Like, wait, what is this? Is this the only fools person? Oh my gosh! Get out of here! What is this? No, seriously, YouTube is full of just terrible stuff. Do some people have more consciousness than others? Like, is that a serious question? Let's check it out. All right, I want to know. Is this guy Russian? What is this? What is this? Who is this guy?
You may not know this, but I did some of the early research on anesthetic drugs with brain imaging, trying to answer the question, what part of the brain is the last to turn off when someone loses consciousness? And is that the first part of the brain to turn on when consciousness is regained? And I was working with an anesthesiologist named Mike Alkire, who was really brilliant at this. These were really the first studies of brain imaging using positron emission tomography long before
There's nothing
fMRI.
that you can tell me. I'm
we would
just
inject
miserable,
radioactive
and
sugar
I've created everything in my
labeled the
brain to be as
The
miserable
harder
as
the brain was
possible.
working, the more
And this
sugar
world
it
is
would
just
take
going to
up.
drive
And then
me
you
to
can
a
make a picture
rage,
of
and I'm going to explode.
Glucose using the brain. And he was amazing. He managed to do this in normal volunteers he brought in and anesthetized as if they were going into surgery.
I'm going to straight up explode.
He managed all the human subjects requirements on this research. And he was brilliant.
I don't know how much longer of this
And
I can take,
and
guys. I literally have no will to live.
Normal volunteers come in on
No will to
3
live.
occasions. On one occasion, he gave them enough anesthetic drug so they were a little drowsy. And on another occasion, they came in and he fully anesthetized
Why
them.
is this guy so boring?
During the COVID lockdown, this headline went viral. Nearly half of men say they do most of the homeschooling. 3% of women agree. I bring this up not to debate who's right, but because it's a great example of something called egocentric bias. Most people think they do most of the work. For example, researchers have asked authors of multi-author papers,
What a bunch of
percentage
egocentric,
of the work they
egomaniacal
personally did.
egomaniacs.
And when they add up those percentages, the sum is on average 140%. When couples are asked to estimate how much of the housework they do, the combined total is almost always over 100%. Now, you might think this is because people want to appear more helpful than they actually are, but that's not it. When couples are asked what fraction of the fights they start or how much of the mess is theirs, the total is again over 100. People think they do more of the work, but they also think they cause more of the problems. So why is this? I think it's simply because you experience and remember vividly all of what you do, but not all of what everyone else does. So naturally, you overestimate your own contributions and underestimate others.
And I think this bias
Just
leads us to
breathe,
underestimate the
meditate,
influence of
relax,
other things
ignore
in
the
our
world,
lives, like
pretend that
the
there are
role
no
luck
problems,
plays in our
and be
success.
happy.
Take hockey players, for example.
Nothing
If you
is
ask
the
a professional
matter.
hockey player
Everything
how
is
they
okay.
reach the NHL, they might mention their hard work, determination, great coaches,
Make
their
my
parents'
own
willingness to get
content.
up at 5
Hell
a.m.
nah,
and so
man.
on. But they
I'm not
probably
gonna
won't
waste my
acknowledge how
time
lucky they were to be
wasting
born
other
in
people's
January.
time.
And
I
yet
have
in many
nothing of
years,
value.
40% of
I
hockey
contribute
players
nothing to
selected in the top
society.
30
I have
are born in the first
absolutely
quarter of the year,
nothing to
compared
gain
just
from me.
10%
You
in
will
the
gain
fourth quarter.
absolutely
An early
nothing from
birthday
me.
can make you up to 4 times as likely to be
I have
a
nothing to
pro hockey
provide.
player. And the reason for this disparity is presumably because the cutoff
Absolutely
date for kids' hockey leagues
no
is
value.
January 1st. Those born in the first part of the year are a little older.
I'm just
and so
kidding.
on
I
average
provide
bigger
all
and
the
faster
value.
than
I'm a
kids in their league
superhero.
born late in the year. Now, as they grow up, this
Jesus,
difference
I
should
am
eventually shrink to nothing,
Jesus'
but it
son.
doesn't.
I am just a
Because
son of
the
God.
young kids who show the most promise are given more time on the ice and enter more tournaments where they receive better coaching and improve their skills. And these advantages compound.
You know, it's not that I don't have a short attention span. It's that I have an extremely short attention span, and that my brain literally can't handle all this maniac content. This literally sucks. There's literally nothing on here of any value. I'm just kidding. A lot of good stuff on here. Look. Watch this.
There are only 2 kinds of people who do not experience painful emotions. The first kind are the psychopaths. The second kind are dead. There is a false understanding or expectation that a happy life means being happy all the time. No, learning to accept and even embrace painful emotions is an important part of a happy life, and the study of painful emotions is an important part of the field of happiness studies. My name is Tal Ben-Shahar. I'm a student and teacher.
I just met a
in the
guy
field
the
of
other day. His
happiness
name was
studies,
Tal.
and my most recent
He
book
was
is
Israeli.
Happier No Matter What.
However you feel about that, that's your decision. You know, he was an Israeli. His name was Tal.
There is a very important concept
I don't know.
that was introduced by
However you feel about
Nassim
that.
Taleb, and that is anti-fragility. Anti-fragility is essentially resilience 2.0. Resilience 1.0 is when we put pressure on a system. After the pressure is lifted, that system goes back to its original form. Anti-fragility takes this idea a step further. You put pressure on a system, it actually grows bigger, stronger. We see anti-fragile systems all around us and within us. For example, our muscular system. We go to the gym and we lift weights. We're putting pressure on our muscles. What happens as a result? We actually grow stronger. We're an anti-fragile system. On the psychological level, you know what that's called?
And then you just die one day.
Post-traumatic growth. So where post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, is about breaking down, post-traumatic growth is about growing stronger. As a result of pressure, stress, it's anti-fragility. The role of the science of happiness is to teach us what conditions we can put in place to increase the likelihood of growing from hardship. Now, there is a paradox.
Consume more content.
On the one hand, we know that happiness is a good thing, whether in and of itself or as a means toward other ends. At the same time, we also know from research by Iris Moss and others that
Here,
people
you guys
who
want to
say
see what's going on with my
themselves,
computer?
"Happiness is important for me. I want to pursue it." Those individuals actually end up being less happy. In fact, they're more likely to experience depression. So the paradox is that on the one hand, happiness is clearly a good thing. On the other hand, valuing it as a good thing is problematic. So what do we do? The way to resolve this paradox is that we pursue happiness indirectly. Think about sunlight. So if I look at the sun directly, it's
Why
going
does it
to
keep
hurt
changing
my
GPUs?
eyes.
You see
However,
that?
if I break down
It's using
sunlight
both of
into
them.
its elements, into its constituents,
Is that possible?
I can look at the colors of the rainbow. So I'm indirectly looking at the
GPU
sunlight,
0 for 3D.
enjoying it, savoring it. In the
What is
same
it?
way, pursuing happiness directly can cause more harm than good. But breaking it down
I have an
into its
NPU,
elements
guys.
can lead us to enjoy
It never does anything,
the
though.
direct pursuit of happiness, and by extension, to raise our overall levels of happiness. What are the metaphorical colors of the rainbow when it comes to happiness? Here we have what I've come to call the SPIRE model, and it can trigger the anti-fragile system. SPIRE is an acronym that stands for spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and finally, emotional well-being. Spirituality is about finding a sense of meaning and purpose in life, at work and at home. If you wake up in the morning with a purpose, you're more likely to overcome barriers. When it comes to physical well-being, the most important idea to look at is stress, the silent killer. In the United States, more than half of the employees do not use up their vacation time. And even those that do, close to half are still tethered to their work. The problem is not the stress, it's the lack of recovery. With intellectual well-being, there's research showing that people who are curious, who ask questions, are not just happier, they also live longer. Another important element is not just asking questions, it's deeply engaging with material. It can be text, a work of art, even nature. Relational well-being is very important. The number one predictor of happiness is quality time we spend with people we care about and who care about us. And it
I
turns
don't
out
care about
the
anyone,
number one
and no one
condition
cares about
that
me.
we can put in place
Gosh.
to increase the likelihood of anti-fragility, of growing through hardship, is the quality of our relationships. Finally, emotional well-being. So embracing painful emotions is critical, but how do we then cultivate pleasurable ones? Specifically, the emotion of gratitude. Cicero talked about gratitude as the mother of all virtues. When we appreciate the good in our life, we have more of it. So happiness is much more than pleasure. Happiness is whole being. These 5 elements together create that sunlight, happiness. I don't think there is a point before which one is unhappy, after which one is happy. Rather, happiness resides on a continuum. It's a lifelong journey. And knowing that, we can have realistic rather than unrealistic expectations about what is possible. I do not think that things necessarily happen for the best. However, we can learn to make the best of things that happen.
Get smarter faster with videos from the world's biggest thinkers.
Did you hear that, guys?
To
Be
learn even more
positive.
from the world's biggest
Think
thinkers.
positive.
Get big, think
Be
plus for your
positive.
business.
Think positive. Be positive. Think positive. Positivity. Be positive. Don't be negative, because that's bad. Don't think negative thoughts, because that's bad. Don't say negative things, because that's bad. And don't make people uncomfortable, because that's bad. And never say anything that no one wants to hear, because that's bad. Anything that's pathetic, don't say it. That's bad. If you have feelings, keep them to yourselves. That's bad. I'm just kidding. Go speak to your counselor. You definitely don't talk to your girlfriend about your problems, okay? I mean, unless you want to end that relationship. Goodbye. Signing out. I'm crazy. I'm just kidding. I'm absolutely sane and sound of mind. I'm perfectly normal, okay? Please don't call the police.